Hey everyone, so this is Chris Logan from Tree of Life, Meditative Arts and Yoga, and I wanted to post a video on what kind of decks will be available to explore at tomorrow night's open house, and also which one of those or other ones that you resonate with that if you would like to purchase here, you can take home with you. So this is the collection right now, and this is going to be a short video. I'll just say a few words about each, and if some deck is open, maybe show some cards. So we're going to start on this left side here. So these decks are open and I love them. And so let's start with the ones we'll have out for exploring. We have this here, which is a spirit animal oracle. It's about the most beautiful spirit animal oracle I've seen. And, oh, is that upside down? There you go. Oh. And I have at some point owned any spirit animal, Native American card deck. You know, I started with those. Actually, that was my first deck to ever start with, was the medicine wheel decks and the animal totem decks. But these give so much information about each animal in the book and their symbolism that would extend beyond a certain tradition, but the archetype of the animal. They're beautiful on the front, and let's just pick an animal. Just pick a card to show you the art. Nice. Moth spirit. And so the art is really pretty, good for contemplation. And you know, you're able to tune into what you think of with these moths and what that brings up for you. How does that translate maybe to an aid or a tool for you to process what you're going through? Super great cards. So these are just an oracle deck. The book is amazing to add a lot of information on the animal that you can draw more and more resonating conclusions from. So I love that, and I'm obsessed with the white stag. So when I saw the deck, I had to get it. This copy of this deck is not for sale. However, I can order one for you and get it to you within 3 days about. So it originally, if you notice, if you'll buy it publicly, it originally goes for about $30. So I would sell it for about $25, which doesn't really give me, it's not about the profit. So it's just to make it a little more affordable, easier to access, and if you like it. So Spirit Song Tarot is a tarot deck that is also a tarot oracle with animal symbolism. Kind of see one of those themes I run with. Upside down, sorry. So same thing, except that it includes the 4 elements of the tarot and the major arcana and their meanings, except no planetary representation of it from Egyptian tarot. It's animal representation of that card and what it means. So whether it's judgment, temperance, whatever, and then they give an animal to represent that spirit. So it's really awesome for newer tarot readers who are wanting to learn tarot and oracle, intuitive reading, and also to experience the elemental numerology side of tarot and the major minor arcana without that symbolism of the Egyptian religion, you know, in there. Because unless you can decode that, that can be a little intimidating for some people to read. So I love this one. I got it in Florida. This one is not for sale. If you would like me to order one for you, cheaper than you can find it, let me know. But that'll be fun to play with. This is one to play with. This is a Thelema tarot. It is essentially traditional tarot through the lens of the Thelema spirituality. which just basically takes into account all, it's not really about all religions as much as it's just about the consciousness of a being. You'll see like this is a very popular symbol, the universal hexagram, and so this does relate to the more esoteric side of tarot, and the school of theosophy, and more of it's almost more occult in some ways in the origins of this and Thelema. However, the pictures are very, it's actually not complex to read. So like 6 of Cups. You don't see any planetary symbols, Hebrew, or any of that from original tarot to decode. So you're able to understand numerology. 6 Cups is reflection, and when that goes bad, it could be tumultuous emotion, and so you combine that, and then you get an art to contemplate on. So it's a really good stepping stool to the traditional Thoth Egyptian tarot, or Hermetic, or other tarot. So I love it. It's beautiful art. Lots of feminine energy. This was a new find, and I'm obsessed with it. I've not found a deck like it. It is the Sacred Rebels Oracle. So it's just an oracle deck, and I will give an example. So this is, Alana Fairchild is one of my favorite artists for tarot decks. She is one of my favorite artists in general, and I never knew she did tarot decks. If you look at the art of this, it is amazing. And so this is just an oracle with messages. Let me find some amazing ones. This is like a common art that I've known for a long time, but it's in a card now. Love that one. Some of these arts you might recognize. And so this is just a traditional oracle deck, and it's the Sacred Rebels. And so it's things that we do have to face, and sometimes are taboo, but our spiritual progress comes through it. So this card is visions of life beyond death. Well, that might be a slightly taboo subject to some, but and you can see how this is a sacred rebel symbolism of a woman with a bright idea, and it says going beyond normal, which is sometimes, something that you have to kind of rebel against the normalcy for that spiritual message. So I like this. I like that it is extremely empowering to breaking expectations and molds of us. And it's just, the art is just so beautiful. I'm trying to find, this is cute. Just positive messages. This is a reminder of kind of that femininity, softly, tender touch. And so it's all kinds of things. It really has become one of my faves. So even if you're struggling, there's things that will help you to look. So this is coming to life, and she's painting, and she's in black and white, but you see she's starting to paint color on herself. So coming to life through creative expression. So this is a really good deck for those in transition, for those who feel that it's time to break out of molds, to follow their spiritual journey, and to feel connected in that. And the art is amazing. So the last card I'll show, this was one of the ones I'm like, yeah. So this is Sacred Rebel energy. So that says releasing allegiances. Sometimes we feel morally obliged to things that don't resonate actually with our values, but we may be afraid that other people, whatever. So this is kind of that dark place that can be hard, but is beautiful. Releasing allegiances, and she's in gold, and the ancient symbolism of bees and divine feminine is there. So very feminine, interesting deck about female empowerment. So this copy is to explore, and I can also order one for you as well. Okay, didn't close that right. So I want to wrap up this video. I'm going to get a little quicker. This is an amazing deck, the Lightworker Oracle. Anybody at all interested in the aspects of light work, literally with the light and being, angels or beings or ascendant, or energetic programs that relate to the light worker's path, healing. This is a good deck for you. And so I'll just show it. The art is amazing. So first one, unplug from mass consciousness. So it's all lessons of how to remind yourself of what a light worker is, and what they can do. Some of it does include, New Age symbolism, and it kind of translates some ancient things into that more Rainbow Bridge New Age symbolism, which I think is beautiful on here. The art is amazing, So Merkaba Spiritual Connection, also selling 2 Merkaba crystal malas for rather cheap in store, an amethyst and a rose quartz, so Merkaba resonates with you. But this is just a beautiful deck of beautiful art of light workers to remember the message of the light. I'm just going to show a couple more. It's beautiful. So we can explore that. I have additional stock of this for sale because I was so impressed. So I actually had the larger stock of this on sale, but I can order more. Other one for exploring tomorrow night that will be open is Dreams of Gaia Tarot, which is simply different in that the major arcana is not the planets and signs, but the stages of life, which I find to be a very, very well written, amazing book, very well written on the science and stages of life, like the Mother Maiden Crone and the concept of choice, and it's very deep. And then it includes the 4 elements through the numerology, as well as the messenger guardian between that and the phases of life. So beautiful art, a lot more primal, basic consciousness art to express something. So like this is the Ace of Water, it's all blue, and the dragon represents intuition and deep knowledge, and so that's kind of the power epitome of water before those waters become rippled with thought and mind and air. I love to remind people water is not overly emotional, it's reflective. It's the first mirror, reflects everything below it, above it, you. That's water. However, when you mix air and mind and other things with water, or fiery needs or other things, then that water becomes emotional and imbalanced. So, love the water element. I am lots of water. So just really pretty cards. This is one of the cards that drew me to it, rainbow chakras. So really pretty cards, really about life and beautiful gold lining. Can you see that? So we'll play with that, and the book is amazing, especially on giving wisdom on the phases of life that, we've not all gone through all of them yet. If you think you have, then you need to start over. So, Viking Oracle is for sale. It is opened. I got this in Florida, and I also have a do I have it still? No, that might be in the giveaway, so I'm not going to say anything. Viking Oracle. And it is also extremely historical on all of the Elder Futhark runes, so you can use this like a rune system, and it completely historical on all the Norse Viking gods, Celtic gods. It looks and appears masculine on the outside, but on the inside is not, because they highly respected femininity. Some of the cards are simply the rune. And so if you know the runes, that's great, and if you don't, you get to look them up, and they give a far deeper interpretation than often what you can find. So yeah, beautiful deck. All the mythology of the Norse, Viking, Celtic people. And so if that just is a genealogy that relates to you, you might not initially be drawn to it, but I would explore looking into it, because there might be something genetic that you're not aware of that connects in the lessons. So it's an interesting deck. That will be for exploring as well as for sale. Since it is opened and will be used for exploring, it'll be sold for cheaper, but this was a rare deck. So we'll work with that on you if you are called to it. This is definitely for sale and exploration. Buying at wholesale, if you find it, is $35. I found this one cheaper than any of the other ones by far in the source that I found it, so this can be let go of pretty easily if you are drawn to it. This is a Toltec oracle, gives you the history and information of the Toltec culture, which has connections and understandings and relations with the Aztec and the Mayan, and it's great. Includes the north, south, east, west influences and placements, and it is wonderful. The art, the book is great. A very lengthy book of knowledge. I love that. It's a super thick book of knowledge of the teachings. To be honest, spending years originally with the medicine wheel cards and teachings, it really helped me. So before I was able to dive in deeper with teachers. So I think this is a great deck, and it looks, there's the Hunaku. It looks very much like the symbolism of the culture and their art. And then you get to learn about what all of the symbolisms really are. It uses the same Mayan numerical system. So super interesting, and resonates with our continent's teachings. And so I think it's cool to get to know that and maybe connect a little bit to that. And yeah. Okay, almost done. So we also have for exploring only the Hermetic deck, which is a different variation, I would say, of the Thulf deck, to be honest, as far as information in it. It's pretty similar, but includes Hermeticism beliefs, whereas the more traditional Egyptian-related belief system, art, understanding, interpretation of tarot, I have the Thulf deck that most people know of. Without the symbolism and understandings and what they meant by things being clear, it's a little hard to divine your own intuitive reading from. However, if you are educated in the system that this is a book, it has a secret order, the Book of Thoth. So if you are familiar with the Book of Thoth or the teachings of the Egyptian pantheon, appreciate their spirituality, can understand that, and maybe the spiritual symbolism behind their astrology system, then this could be a good deck for you to look into. You can find that anywhere. I have Pima Chodron's Compassion cards. They are for sale for cheap. Cheap. One of the cheapest decks probably I have for sale. I have an unopened, amazing, I really want it to open it, so I can't show you it. Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards. And I love that. It's a combination of my passion of the land ancestors and angels and animals. If you can see the pictures on the back for some of the cards, but you're free to look this up. And it looks amazing. And Kyle Gray did the art, so he's amazing. Kyle Gray also did the art of Keepers of the Light. I have an unopened pack for sale. I do not have the deck in here in the transition of moving, but if you want a sneak peek of that deck, it will show all the cards and what you're getting into there. Hopefully I can find, do I have, maybe I do have the deck. I do, okay. I do have the deck. So, Keepers of the Light, it's sitting out. Yeah, they'll give you like a keeper of the light and a message from them. And this ranges from all world religions, spirituality, including even like Galactic Federation of Light, all the way down to Freya from the Norse. So it is a collective of the Keepers of Light. I will put that back in the deck. Lastly, the only other deck I have to mention, and I love that I found this deck because I think it opens so many other people up to the potential of quietly tuning into art and a simple phrase of contemplation to open themselves. So that deck is this one. It is opened because I have played with it, so we can explore it. I will not be selling this copy, but I can get another one for you. This is simply the direct quotes of Jesus himself, and it is art by Doreen Virtue, who is a common oracle deck artist, so highly skilled art with a quote from where it comes from in the Bible. So super cool way to add divination to biblical resonance, Christ resonance. So that is the decks that we will be exploring and playing with, and kind of just, if you haven't had a chance to really look through several and understand how different some of them are, sometimes we don't know that, this deck I fully resonate with, and you get so much from that. But trying decks that it's not quite the one for the time in the year that you're at, might not work as well. So for me, like the Sacred Rebel Oracle is a big deal right now, as is these two, the Lightworker and the Spirit Animal. A lot of the other ones I'm not currently needing so to resonate with, but I like to keep a stock. So those, that is the oracle that we'll be exploring and playing with in just free time, and you can play with friends or do it yourself, and we'll have tea and community. We'll do some grounding and some stuff beforehand to kind of tune in. If you want to do this, you don't have to do this. You can hang out, watch people, drink tea, talk, whatever you would like. We will end on a pretty solid 20-minute guided meditation with quartz crystal tuned singing bowls for the root, heart, and crown chakra to balance the main opening, closing, and balancing chakra. And so I hope you guys enjoy and come when you want. The first half an hour will be more on the tea and mingling. So those that want to do the meditation ground and play with these can. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. This was a lot longer than anticipated.